Welcome to Neighbors Don't Knock, the show that brings you hilarious, unapologetic conversations only these neighbors can have. Join them and guests in their weekly mission to expand the neighborhood. Now, here's your hosts, Brian Chambers and Philip Goffrey.
All right, what's going on, guys? What's up?
Oh, we're on the air.
We're here. Welcome to Neighbors Don't Knock.
Did you catch the "we're F now" comment right there?
Well, welcome to Neighbors Don't Knock.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. What's going on, Brian?
All you, I'm doing great. I just wonder how all you neighbors out there are doing. If this is your first time or your 100th time to join us, we are happy to expand the neighborhood with you. As always,
if it's your first time, you can turn to other episodes that are actually start out a little more cleanly than this one. But
but we have an interesting topic we're going to get into today. We're going to get into guilt tipping and tipflation.
Yes.
So we're going to get into that. But before we do, make sure you take a moment to like, follow, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcast. Also, go if you're watching on YouTube, hit that little bell so you get notifications when we have new videos that come up. It really helps the channel. And we love expanding the neighborhood and want to hear from you.
An important distinction for the old man in the room. I didn't know you have to hit the subscribe button and then hit the bell. It's two
I tell
different
you this
processes.
every week. We do this every week.
I just heard the first time last week. I mean, there's a bell.
Selective hearing there.
I have to admit
the
the notifications are quite useful, so please do go ahead and, as Mr. Chambers said, hit that bell.
Yes, and I was going to go some other direction with that, but let's just jump right into our topic.
I think we should. So this happened to me actually today, so I'm really excited we're talking about it today because I was getting something completely mundane, and I got the spin of death from the little kiosk where I was paying.
Oh, yeah, the guilt.
Suggested tips across the screen.
Yes.
I froze in fear.
Did you really?
I did, because this poor person was looking at me like, are you gonna?
No,
it's like a dog with a treat. Are you gonna?
That's what they do. So what we're talking about guilt tipping and tipflation going on right now. And it honestly, we actually briefly had an episode that we talked about this on, on one of our earlier seasons.
Indeed, yeah, we have brought it up in the past, and that's why I wanted to actually bring it up again, because
it's grown, it's festered.
Yeah,
we left part of the splinter in there, and now it's starting to get a little worse.
It's 100% true, and I've been sort of like really eager to kind of really get into this with you because I'm curious about how you feel about it, because I am honestly beyond
over it.
Frustrated. Yeah,
I'm over it, man.
You're done.
I'm absolutely done. I'm not gonna say. I don't want to say the place that I went, but I was on a break. And I walked across the street to this restaurant. It was great, good food. But when I ordered, again, they had the little kiosk and they turned it around, little iPad
like a full
thing.
service restaurant, like an actual sit down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not
counter order and then they bring it to you. This was like a
counter
waiter.
order. You get it. No waiter. This was
counter
counter
full
order.
Service.
So
okay.
not full service. Yeah. But it was very sit down type of thing, a cafe type place, right? So. I didn't know where you were going with that, so yes, sorry, my mistake.
That's why I clarified.
But yeah, so they turned the kiosk around, and then the guy, and of course it says, how much you want to tip.
Right.
15. It doesn't even start lower than that. It starts at 15, 20, and 25%.
Yeah, you don't see a whole lot in there 5, 10, 15.
No.
No.
And then it says custom, of course, so because you can custom. And the guy behind the counter, and he was by himself kind of working. It wasn't a very high time, like it wasn't a lunch pop or anything, so he was
I see.
So
Dude's just chilling.
Yeah.
What's up, bro?
He was just chilling and taking care of stuff. And
You want fries with that?
Yeah. And he just stared at me.
Yeah.
Like awkwardly. Like just kind of like, and then proceeded to let me know. I was like, oh, well, just you can do your tip
it's right there,
right on
dude,
there, right there, and just kind of waited for me to.
Did his finger
to
go towards the 30% or whatever? It's right there, bro.
And
Bruh.
Yeah, and it made me slightly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I was with a group of friends, and he did it to every single one of them. And it was funny in the sense that we all noticed it. And when we left, we didn't talk about it at the place. When we left and walked back together, we literally, that was a comment that came out of everyone's mouth, and it was like, did you notice that he did that? It was,
So
and we all
your
felt
topic-
very, very awkward that he was kind of waiting and pressuring us to tip,
Yeah.
and I did not.
Bruh.
I did not.
Sorry, bruh. Is it bruh?
Bruh,
Bruh.
bruh, bro,
Bruh. You bro, not bruh.
bro.
All right,
Nah.
sweet.
Yeah, but I did not, and honestly, I was going to, I really was going to, and then the awkward stare happened.
Yeah. Okay.
And I felt very uncomfortable at that point. But I'm like, and I remember what we talked about, because you can go back and figure out if someone did tip or not from these machines, but it doesn't automatically come up on your ticket, no tip or whatever it is.
No, but it
So-
sure as hell does it. They're staring at you when your finger is wagging across. They know where your finger's landing.
Well, you still have to sign for it. So,
Yeah.
so I was just like,
Little finger fake.
yeah,
You do
yeah. Like, well, I mean, because I used a
Sure,
card.
I'm gonna.
Well, because I used a card, I still had to sign
Like a
for it anyway, right?
fake tap.
No, I still had to do my signature on there.
No, but you like to make it a point, like make it look like you're hitting that 25%. And
Nah,
then,
you just do a slower signature. You just hit, like with your finger. You're just like.
what are you signing? I'm signing F off. Yeah.
That would have been better. But yeah,
okay.
it was very uncomfortable. So I didn't. But I think everyone else, all my other friends, did.
All right, so this is a perfectly timed episode then, because you literally had a conversation with your friends about how frustrated you all are at
Yeah.
this situation and
Yeah.
how
Oh,
awkward
yeah.
it is. Okay, so a little disclaimer here, because Mr. Chambers sent me a link to a YouTube video, and the YouTube video was done on March 30th by CNBC, by actual journalists. The video, and I'll put a link.
Yeah,
into-
it was really interesting.
It was very good. I'll put a link in the description for everyone to click on if you're interested. It was called "Why Tipping Is So Out of Control in the U.S." So the disclaimer
It's
is
reaching a tipping point.
yeah. So my disclaimer is this. My disclaimer is that Brian and I are not journalists. This might shock you, but we are not, and we do not claim to be.
What?
Therefore,
I'm
everything.
not a journalist. Way to pop my bubble. All right.
Therefore, everything that we talk about on this show, no, we have not individually vetted and made sure it is all accurate. We are going by things that other people say. If you want journalists, please save your comments for like Fox News or CNN.
You
or-
want good neighbors, good discussion. You hang here with us, and we just
Indeed.
fill you in what we know.
So for the duration of this episode, everything that we talk about in terms of statistics came from that CNBC YouTube video that was put up on March 30th.
I think they got it.
Yeah.
I think-
But importantly, all the stats actually came from that video itself. They're not pulled from other sources.
Oh, okay. See, we're not combining.
Right.
Oh,
So
yeah.
go yell
Fair
at
enough.
CNBC and their journalism if you have problems with it. But I found some really interesting stats about
It
this
was.
stuff.
I remember watching it. It was
Yeah.
really eye opening.
Super enlightening. And I think what we all know is that basically Square and
I can't
what's the
remember
other
all of
one?
them. Square's the big one. I know.
Square, Toast, and Clover are the three services that really sort of changed the landscape in the United States. They're the ones that all created those flip around touchscreen
Or you could-
pads.
Well, even before that, they had little.
Well, you
little
dip your
plug
card,
in.
yeah.
The dips, or
Yeah,
you
yeah.
could plug into your phones and
Yeah, they're
yeah,
point
yeah.
of sale systems
Yeah.
that took over retail. But what they really did masterfully was they created those great big, usually 3 tip options, sometimes 4, depending on the service.
Oh, they are big.
Right. And sometimes they're tied into where you can choose no receipt too.
Yes.
Very clever to put them right there. And I didn't know this until I watched that video. But it turns out that the business that puts these systems in, they decide what those systems display. Not only do they decide, do they display tip or no tip, or they choose the amounts that they list.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea. It makes perfect sense, obviously. But so if you go to a cafe where somebody makes you a regular drip coffee and they spin that thing around, if it starts 15, 20, 25%, the business decided to do that.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it and register it until I watched that same video and learned that what they can also do is suggest dollar amounts instead of percentages. $1, $3, $5 on your $1
most like
coffee.
Full service restaurants, they help you out. They will put the higher gratuity prices or tip prices, but they'll or percentages on there, but they'll also include the price of what you're like the dollar amount, like you were saying.
Sure.
So
They'll have both.
I see that more with full service than I do with counter service places or anything like
Yeah.
that. But you're right, they do.
But so this is the problem, right? The problem is that it used to be that we used to tip in the service industry. We tipped for service jobs. Now it's become we tip for things like counter service, things like pickup service, things like
Fast food restaurants that are,
drive-throughs have even added tip options.
Yeah, because it's just a hand. It's basically, oh, well, if we put it on there, they'll give us the money anyway.
Right. It's
You
like
know?
it's freaking crazy.
I
It's
mean,
crazy.
It's like whatever happened to the days, when you go through McDonald's and you have to put a penny, to
Well,
help
that was for the Ronald McDonald House. It
for the
wasn't even
for the
it,
Ronald
yeah.
McDonald, but it wasn't going to. But like
Had nothing to do with the employees.
That I have no issue with.
Yeah.
Right.
So I waited tables for quite a long time in my life, so I've got a soft spot in my heart for people in the service industry, and I understand what it means to wait tables. So before we get into that, let's get into a little brief history here, because you said what happened back in the day.
Yeah.
So it turns out that the real history of tipping in the U.S., it goes all the way back to the late 1800s in our country. Tipping actually can go back to medieval times if you really want to trace it. I'll let you all do your own research to go figure that out. But when it comes down to the tipping that we all kind of understand as tipping, the tipping where Americans do it but Europeans don't,
Yeah.
it really, really, really found its roots in the 1950s. In the 1950s, it became pretty standard for Americans to tip around 10% on very, very good service for service-oriented jobs.
Yeah, but just like you said, for very good service, because it's like I'm receiving this. I think that you did an exceptional job.
Right.
So I want to give you something more, not that, well, you did your job, I should give you
Right.
something extra.
Oh, you changed my tire like I paid you to. Here,
Yeah.
have $50. No,
yeah,
it's very
exactly.
weird. In the 1970s and 1980s, that percentage went up to about 15% was the sort of customary, very, very good tip if you do a very good job in a service job. Again, this is basically limited to waiting tables, bellhops, doormen, things like this. Car wash people.
Yeah.
It's not so much a function of like people that you're already paying, like delivery service for your furniture or whatnot. That was did not fall into this category. Today, it goes anywhere from 15 to 25% is considered a good tip. Most people in a survey conducted by CNBC in 2022 reported they tipped around 21% on average, whether the service was good or bad. Right?
Okay.
And that's fascinating.
See, that's what now, oh man. I don't even know where to unpack that because
There's more. You ready?
yeah,
You ready?
I don't know. Let's see.
Fourth quarter of 2022, the year-on-year number of tips provided at full-service restaurants went up 17%. Went up. Fascinating. From basically pre-pandemic levels.
Yeah.
Quick service, such as coffee shops and fast food chains, counter service locations that previously really had no tipping option because they technically don't really fall into the federal tipped services minimum wage bracket. They're usually paid a full minimum wage. That rose 16% year on year, 4Q 2022. Right? Bizarre stuff.
That's a big jump.
It's a big jump.
It's a very big
really
jump.
big jump. Now, again, waited tables for a long time. I know you've been involved in it, and you have friends that have been everywhere from like basic waiters to head wait at very popular restaurants.
Yeah. Also,
Right.
Also entertainment.
Entertainment.
Not just food industry.
But look, when it comes down to minimum wage and how much you get paid when you're a server in a restaurant, the federal minimum wage for tipped employees has been $2.13 since 1991. It hasn't changed since 1991. The idea is you make your money, the bulk of your money, in tips. That's expected.
Which is why you are encouraged to make the service top notch.
Absolutely. That's the idea, right?
Yes.
Now, the fact that it hasn't changed, very interesting, right? Very
Yeah.
interesting. But you can make the argument.
I don't agree with the fact that it's
Well, before you say that, though, because my knee-jerk reaction is to say the same thing. Like, I don't agree it should really have been updated by now.
yeah.
But why would it be updated? Well, it gets updated because of inflation, because as goods cost more, you have to make more money.
Yeah.
Well, as goods cost more, so does the restaurant tab. So therefore, if you're tipping 20%, it naturally goes up with the cost of the meal going up in the restaurant. That's the argument as to why it hasn't gone up.
Okay, which I see that. So what would you think it would be okay if the base pay went up, but the tipping amount was kept at 10 to 15%?
I think this depends on the ratio, and that brings us back to the core problem, right? The guilt tipping problem. Why are we tipping, $1 on our $1.50 coffee, for example, at a coffee shop? Why is that happening? Well, if you really break it down, the people that work at the coffee shop, for example, are making minimum wage or more.
Well, see
right?
and see now we're getting into a little bit when you're making minimum wage. That's the issue that I have with all the tipping and basically putting your hand out.
Right.
Please, may I have some more?
So the question of, well, do we just raise the requirements for base pay for servers and then expect people to naturally tip less in compensation is very complicated, because if you're a restaurant owner and you're already barely making it by, you can't afford to pay the higher wages. Well, and we all know that the restaurant industry razor thin margins.
Yeah. It's well, I found this. It's on payscale.com, actually, and it says, as a waiter, based on this, median hourly pay is $12.20.
That sounds about right, but that's going to include diners and cafes.
Percentage of pay from tips is 61%.
Okay, yeah. That sounds about right. I think that's about what I averaged when I was waiting tables, regardless of the quality of the restaurant. It was all kind of the same in terms of the percentage breakdown between my wage and the wage from tips.
Which, again, that's the highest out of all the jobs. I mean, there's all these jobs that are on here that I'm seeing that you can get. Waiters are the highest percentage in tips.
Yeah.
Which makes more sense.
Which makes more sense. Now, caveat here.
Gaming dealers.
Ooh,
they
didn't even think about
59%.
Yeah,
actually, and their median hourly pay is $21.30.
And they also sometimes get a cut from the table, though,
yeah,
right? So
exactly.
That's interesting. I wonder how they calculate that.
Yeah,
but a little caveat here. So the federal minimum wage since 1991 for tipped service people has been $2.13. This is true. However, it's only 7 states that go by the federal minimum wage, and you can look up which ones those are. So there are lots of states that require that you actually pay your servers a higher base hourly rate and then let the tips compensate. So the numbers are a little bit,
yeah, and
easy to knee jerk, but when you really dig into it, it's a little more complicated.
Well, I get, but then it still comes back down to that one thing where you're like, are we just sticking our hand out and seeing who's just going to give us money?
Right, and why? Right, why? Like, why do we all feel so guilty about not leaving a tip when we see that darn little screen?
Well, okay, so I was going to say, are you going to say why? I was like, that's easy, the why. I was like, because if you put your hand out and they give you money,
sure.
Why not? Right? Sure. But I'm with you. The biggest question, and I think that's the one we need to tackle, is on the other side. Why do you feel the need to tip? I mean, there's people, like, look at some of these, like the top jobs that people get tipped on: chauffeur, hairstylist, taxi drivers, cosmetologist, busboy girl, bell captain, bus driver. I mean,
bus driver. Interesting. Wow.
Like
I never would have guessed
barista,
that.
pizza chef, concierge, massage therapist.
But some of these add up to me. Some of these
dog
that make sense.
groomer.
Ooh, that's a tricky one.
Housekeeper, disc jockey, tow truck driver. It's like corporate jet aircraft pilot.
I wonder about some of this, though, because
locksmith, swimming pool and spa technician. I mean, there's a couple. I'm like, when their median pay is at $25 plus, an hour.
I wonder about some of
now,
those.
Those are also low. Tipping is in the lower percentage for a lot of those.
And are they averaging out with like bonuses? Like, are they averaging out if somebody's a pool cleaner, let's say, and they say, do you get tipped? And they go, well, no, not really. But every year, some of my customers give me like a Christmas bonus or a holiday bonus. Are they extrapolating that dollar amount out and coming up with that percentage? Because that could be
I mean, maybe, but the question again. We still come back to it.
Is why?
Why do we need to? All right. Do you know an answer? I mean, what is yours? Why do you think that we? I think that we need to put our foot down and be like, stop it.
I think that we're actually doing it out of guilt. Collectively as a society, I think we're doing it out of guilt. I also think that people are getting fed up, and there is
because
data.
it's getting ridiculous now.
It is. Well, and we're all dealing with inflation.
And you're seeing the numbers, and you're like, wait a minute, it doesn't make sense. Like you said, you're like, oh, I bought a $3 coffee, and I just literally tipped almost 50%.
Sure. Or even if for the past, let's say 10 years, you've been leaving 25 to 50 cents on your $2 coffee. That's now a $3 coffee, and you haven't had a wage increase.
I like how we say $3. We're like $8 these days.
It depends on what kind of coffee you like. But we're all feeling the rub of the economy right now. We're all feeling inflation. We're all feeling the pinch. No matter who you are, where you are, for the most part, you're feeling it. And these little things start to add up. You suddenly go, hang on a second. My cost to go out on a date has gone up 25%. And now I'm expected to tip, even though my date was like to the movie theater and the guy that gave me my popcorn bag has a tip jar. What is going on? Or usually one of those digital kiosks.
That's not even counting for if you want to take a date to dinner before the movie. Movie tickets are enough, let alone you're like, okay, we could either go to dinner and then go watch a stream, and then we can stream something on our phones in the park or something.
Forget that. Can't afford it.
Or you could go to the movies and just get popcorn, and it would cost the same.
Yeah. So there are some interesting statistics that are happening now where it looks like we are hitting, as a society, tipping fatigue. So before we get into tipping fatigue, right? When this really started was the pandemic. Let's be clear, right? In the pandemic, this went to the moon for two reasons. One, people felt really bad about service industry people being out of work, so they overtipped. That makes sense. That's people trying to do a good deed and do the right thing and help somebody out. Okay, fine. But what else happened in the pandemic is service
industry just like realized that, if we just do that, it
was order ahead apps. Order ahead apps for everything, whether it be your groceries or your food or
that's true.
Whatever it is, they all built in a tipping option. There's a stat. So remote transactions that provided tipping as an option was at a rate of 46% of the people that used them left some kind of a tip pre-pandemic. January of 2022, post-pandemic, that percentage went up to 86%.
Woo.
A 40% increase in people that were choosing to leave a tip if they used an order ahead app. So that's fascinating, right?
Well,
that's how this came to be. That's really what did this to us as a society. Now, it turns out waiters in restaurants are reporting people are suddenly tipping less as of the last few months. Since January of this year,
they found the line.
The consumer has finally gotten to the point where they're fed up. And isn't that horrible? Because it's the waiters and the waitresses, the service people in those, sit-down, full-service restaurants that are only making usually that minimum wage. They need those tips for their livelihood, whereas the people that are paid a full working wage at your counter service joint don't.
Yeah.
Right? So all of a sudden, because we're over tipping as a society, the people that need the tips the most are getting burned.
Well, I mean, I don't want to say that they're now having to take a step back from enjoying what was happening earlier, because the restaurants and other places are more benefiting, not the individual employees. I would imagine.
Well, it depends.
I guess you're right. It would depend on the restaurant and what's happening with that. But as the pendulum shifts or swings back the other way, you think about all the other industries, like some of the ones we mentioned, but take my industry in theater, right? There is a dip jar when you walk out to give.
How convenient.
It's that, to give to the theater of what you're doing, but it's specifically asked if you wouldn't want to give to the theater. It's not saying, hey, tip us, but it essentially does the same thing, right? Because you pay for a ticket, but there's not a put a tip when you buy a
Right. Was
a
that
ticket.
performance great?
Yeah.
You can't throw dollars
Yeah,
in
well,
most theaters.
So apparently that's what at theater we should do. Just a
Maybe
little,
we should
little
bring that
tip
back,
jar,
yeah.
a little tip jar up front.
It's very Elizabethan England.
Or
I
just,
like it.
Or just walk through the aisles like like they do in church with the just pass the
Yeah.
baskets. People.
Heads up, Brian. If I come,
Donations.
it's going to be a basket of cash and a basket of rotten tomatoes.
Which
You
are you gonna
determine.
get? Which are you gonna get? Right? I jump back to the Eddie Murphy Coming to America where they're passing and it's like donations, right? So anyway,
good.
it's very I don't know.
Well, are you seeing?
I'm fed up too. I'm really fed up with it.
I believe it. So in theater, are you seeing the dips decrease, or are they staying kind of constant still?
I mean, I'm not on that side
Okay.
of the business as far as with a company or anything like that. They're not going to tell us, by the way, we only got this much in.
Well,
you guys better go act your ass off tonight because we didn't get many dips tonight.
Thanks to the modern marvel of today's connected world, we can give you some stats about this in full service restaurants. So in 2021, 20% or more, right, as an average tip was given 56, percent of the time. 2022, 43%. That's a big drop.
Of an average.
Yep. So tipping 20% or more dropped by 13% from 2021 to 2022. That is telling.
I never always tipped 20%. I think 18 was where I kind of let it for the most part, is where I lived. Unless
you cheapskate.
Apparently so. But you know what? I mean, it wasn't my wife she likes to tip.
Tightwad.
She likes to tip the 20%. But if it was really great service, though, I got no problem tipping 20 or more to a waiter, which I just kind of felt like that because and this is also the reason for me. It is the fact that I feel customer service has gone down. And this may be a reason why, because it's like, oh, well, they're expected to pay this or tip this much anyway. So why should I put in any of this extra effort?
I agree with you. And again, having worked in the service industry for a number of years in my life, if I experienced exceptional service at a full service restaurant, I would tip 25, 30% way before that was even heard of for most people. But I also tipped much less than 20% if I felt like I got an absolutely terrible experience.
Neighbors Don't Knock is produced by C&G Communications. C&G specializes in small batch voiceover and video production for commercial media, podcasting, radio, and more.
Combining years of experience in podcasting, acting, and sales, C&G offers big media products at small business prices.
That's right. To learn more, visit their Facebook page or email them directly at admin@cngcommunications.com.
It should be based on incentive, right? You should have motivation as a server to do an excellent job because you may get that bigger prize, that bigger tip.
Yeah.
That's the way it's always been in the service industry, as far back as before my brothers were born.
And I have to say this because we're both speaking from experience in the service industry. Now, we haven't been in the service industry for a very long time.
Neither of us have. That's fair.
So I know things change and stuff like that, but I will say,
bust your ass.
You do. You absolutely still bust your ass. But I will say this. I had like regulars that would come in. I had conversations with them. It was just, there was something about it. There was a connecting with that client or customer, that you just enjoyed a lot.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel like I was having to go above and beyond. I was like, I wanted to because I had created this relationship with this person. So there was moments like that I truly did enjoy. But yeah, I feel I go to restaurants and full service restaurants and places that are considered supposed to be a little bit more upscale or supposed to be, you would expect a higher level of service, right? For what you are paying for. And I feel like it's phoned in all the time, or the way that they train their staff is just
To expect it.
Yeah, it's just like you expect it. It's like there's a level of tolerance. They're like, this is your tolerance. This is what you can tolerate up to this much time. I feel like, and I'm sure that's not what they're training and things like that. And I'm speaking just on my opinion, but it feels like that. It's just like in the industry, there's many people, not everyone, but many places that it's just like, well, I'm going to tolerate this much. and you're still going to need to tip me.
Right.
And that's what kind of drives me crazy, and it makes me not want to. And I don't want to do it for these counter service deals. It's like, you just turned around and grabbed it and handed it to me. What am I tipping you for? So I'm done with that. Like all those little things, absolutely not. But it makes me a little fired up about the service industry, because I feel that also affected the customer service level.
Yeah. So I appreciate that, and I think that I applaud you for being done with it, because I think that we all need to kind of step back societally. Everyone needs to step back and just go, okay, look, we don't need to feel guilty about not leaving a tip. We don't need to fall victim to literally it's just numbers on a screen. But I do have a question for you.
Okay, shoot.
And for our listeners, and that is, do you think that tipping should move to a completely anonymous system where, of course, if you're the patron, you want to tell them, hey, I left you a little extra something, right?
Yeah.
But do you think that we should move to a system where no matter what the job is, whether it's full service restaurant or whether it is counter service and like that, okay, you want to leave the option for a tip, great, but you're literally not allowed to ever see if they tipped you. You just get pulled out at the end of the night, right? It's all digital anyway now, so trust the system.
And then you're just given, you're like, well, these are
here's
your
your
tips.
payout, right?
Yeah, so here's your total with tips,
right?
I like that idea, and I think that becomes by giving the customer or patron the option to letting them know, hey, I left you something. That would speak even more
I think so
to the employee. It's like, oh, I did such a great job. They when someone goes out of their way to be like, you were phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
Or thank you so much for what you did. I think that speaks more. I think that would mean more to me if someone said that. So I actually like that idea.
Yeah, I think so
I
too.
actually really do like that idea.
I'm kind of down with it too. Now, I will say that it's very important to understand it wouldn't eliminate tipping, because, again, we've gone too far down the rabbit hole as a society with full service restaurant tipping. Restaurants would go out of business in droves if we tried to force them tomorrow to pay everybody minimum wage and eliminate tipping, or they'd have to raise prices to compensate, which some restaurants have tried in big cities. Usually people don't react well to it because they don't like paying that much more for the food. They don't understand how that industry works. They just pay their 20% on the tip and they move on. It's kind of a knee-jerk reaction, like a muscle memory thing now.
Yeah.
But I do dig the idea of, like, look, if you're in the, walk-up counter service kind of restaurant where you order and then maybe somebody runs you your food that are runners that get tipped out later, make it 100% anonymous. Like, just don't let them know if they got tipped or not. And at the end of every night, it's a great surprise if you get cash. Here you go.
At this point, I'm not going to tip it. I'm not going to do it. I mean, because you're giving me a cup and I got to go over to the machines and get my own stuff. I got to
fill my own damn drink, get my own ice. Yeah, I agree with you.
I'm like, no, I'm like, absolutely not.
I agree with you, man.
The hand it's just been asking too much. It's just keep sticking the hand out and continuously. No.
I'm with you, and I'll leave you on this. I implore you to click the link in our episode description, watch that video that CNBC put out. It's quite telling. It's quite good. And before you go, a little story about that. The journalist who did that video booked a hotel the week that she recorded the video. She used Hopper, the app, to book the hotel. She happened to look at the cost of the booking. Hopper included a 10% tip for Hopper.
Yeah,
without telling her,
and that's a and that's a thing to all you neighbors out there, because we all work hard for our money and things like that, so we want to make sure that we understand where it's going, but make sure that you read the fine print, because there are lots of places and companies
they'll just slip it in.
They will literally just slip it in, and if you aren't paying attention, you'll be like, oh, well, that was expensive, and then all of a sudden you'll then realize it later, and you're like, wait a minute. So yeah, and I think that's a very sneaky way to do it.
It is.
And so I think we all need to be vigilant about that.
Yeah. Let's get back to our baseline values here and understand what we are paying for. It's very important.
Yeah, we don't need to start going down this victim. No, we need to. It needs to be just regulated better. And I think that's a great idea, man. I think the anonymous
tipping.
I think the anonymous thing is great.
Let us know what you think. Please post up. Send us a pod inbox.
And for those of you, and for those of you that work in the industry, would that make a difference? If someone actually let you know that they were leaving you a tip? Does that actually make a big difference to you? I mean, for me, I feel like it would, but I'd love to hear from you guys. All right, well, let's jump in before we get out of here. I have got to do a little bit of fun, and we're going to get into some neighbor tweets. Oh, yeah. It's this week's edition of Neighbor Tweets. All right, well, this first tweet comes from Rand Paul's neighbor, and it says, seems to me we already did away with the whole notion that the smartest people should be in charge, and you're not eliminating that problem by just waving your hands around and saying, but technology. So what do you think of that one, Phil? Did you think Rand Paul's got a nice little point here?
I don't think that Rand Paul's neighbor actually wrote that tweet. I'm just going to throw that out there right now. You know, I have mixed feelings about Rand Paul generally, so I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But I do think it's funny when politicians talk about technology in any capacity, right? It's always just way wrong. Like there's never. You ever watch those like congressional hearings where they sit down the CEOs of tech companies and grill them for like 6 hours?
Only you would watch that.
Brother.
I mean, I watch highlights. I won't watch the full hearings and things like that.
It is so entertaining. They'll have like Mark Zuckerberg in there and they'll be like, now tell us about this IP address that you keep talking about. And he's like, oh, God.
But technology.
With a finger wave. I demand to know if AI is going to take American jobs. Yeah, it's very amusing. Yeah, nothing good gets solved by a bunch of old white guys in a room wagging fingers and saying, you know, but the clouds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. How about you? What do you think about this one?
I'm with you. I kind of didn't really.
Yeah, mixed feelings about Rand Paul as well.
Yeah, I had some mixed feelings, but I didn't really have many feelings when I read it. But I was like, it just for some reason just stuck out to me. I was like, we should unpack this a little bit.
I have feelings about Rand Paul's hair because every time I see his hair, I think, golly, like he wakes up in the morning and thinks this is a good look and goes to I mean it's like straggly little curly, it's weird greasy looking, like just do something, dude. I don't know.
Well, if this is your neighbor, then maybe you guys should have a little table talk of your own.
Yeah, I mean, Rand, technology's not going to fix your hair, but
yeah.
But technology. Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, I thought it was just humorous and interesting.
Odd and humorous tweet.
Yeah, it was. Let's go to our next one. Our next one is from Amy's _bus_ ticket. So at Amy's bus ticket, and she poses a question. If you had a neighbor that routinely pushes over fully grown Robellini palm trees in your yard on border between yards, what would you do? And in quotes, she's already been warned 2 times to notify if there is a problem. So what would you do? Robellini palm trees. That was it.
Robellini palm trees.
Yeah.
On a quick Google search, also known as the pygmy date palm.
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know, those are those little short kind of like kind of stubby palm trees. They're not the 20-foot tall ones.
Right. Let me see if I can digest this for a second and kind of break this down. Am I hearing this correct, that the neighbor pushes the palm trees over? Is that the issue?
Pushes fully grown palm trees in her yard, apparently.
Just like palm tipping.
You can't really do that, right?
I don't really understand it.
It takes a lot to get to like over. I honestly,
I'm picturing like JJ Watt like going up against this thing, you know.
Love
full
you, JJ.
sprint,
Love you.
Hope you're enjoying retirement, buddy. But just full on tackling a palm. Like how do you? Yeah, like
what I think
over it goes.
What I think it is, it's the dead palms. I think it's the dead palms that fall off, or maybe they get trimmed.
Okay, all right.
I feel like that is what it is, and it's like, it's kind of like just like
fuck you.
Yeah.
I can.
It's like, nah, here's the line. It's like, oh, it's not on my property anymore. You know.
I think you should clean up your dead palms.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
I
like
bet you're
calling
right.
HOA.
I bet you're right. I bet that's what that is. And yeah, that's disturbing, actually. Why wouldn't you just throw them back over onto the neighbor's property, though?
Well, then it becomes like I'm going to keep throwing. Then it's just like a war of throwing palms back and forth.
It's like a 2-year-old cartoon.
I don't.
Something from like SpongeBob.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I think that, the fact that she says she's already been warned twice, or been warned twice to notify if there's a I don't know what that. She's already been warned 2 times to notify if there's a problem.
All right. Well, listen. At my bus
warned?
ticket,
That doesn't
lady.
make. Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me. You're like, you've warned
Yeah, call the
about a
cops.
problem. I was like, yeah. At that point, I think you either let another neighbor know, or give HOA a call.
I'm pretty sure it falls under at least littering, if not illegal dumping. So in most states, at least, I think maybe not in Alabama.
I mean, I hold. I don't like people when they call the cops when they can resolve an issue, which honestly is just a matter of somebody being the bigger person. At that point, I think that's a waste.
You don't?
I mean, yeah. I mean, come on. I think you gotta have to be a little bit more aggressive and confrontational about it. I feel like this person is more very passive.
I agree. I think that you should
so-
have a full-grown oak tree delivered to your house, prop it up for one day, and then just right over on the neighbor's property. Be aggressive. Be aggressive.
Be aggressive. And that does it for another edition of Neighbor Tweets.
Can you just see him, JJ Watt? Just like,
Yeah, I totally could actually. I can't get that out of my head. The be aggressive, be like old cheerleading football game cheers or whatever.
Awful.
So, all right. Well, I think we've exhausted this one enough, man.
I think so too, but I'm looking forward to hearing what you all have to say about it because I think it was I think we're all frustrated by everything we talked about in this episode.
Yeah, I
including
mean,
palm tipping.
exactly the palm. Hey, bum.
See what I did
Yeah,
there?
right.
Yeah.
I saw what you did there. So yeah. Yeah, I was a little late on that. All right. But yeah, the question is for you guys, are you at a tipping point? Is the guilt of tipping or tipflation, is it out of control? Are you having problems with it? We'd love to hear from you. It's fascinating. We can talk about that. We could probably go on for a while on this, but I think we're ready to close this one
And
out.
hey, even comment up if you're angry at Brian Chambers for being done with it.
I am done with it. I'm extremely done with it. But make sure you guys catch more episodes. We drop new episodes every Friday. Like, follow, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, as well on the YouTube. And click that little notification bell so you know when new material is up. It always helps the channel out, and we love hearing from you.
Yep, not just the YouTube, but also the Instagram, the TikTok, and the Facebook.
Oh, yeah. So, but we'll catch you guys next week with more great content. So we'll see you later. Peace.
Out.